So good afternoon, everyone. This is Lisa Ware, Senior Group Leader. Thank you for coming on today. I have remembered to record. It will go out so you can follow up. We're going to be approaching a subject that is very dear to my heart, which is a bit of a follow-on to what we've been doing over the last few weeks, which is all about helping somebody fairly new. And I would say that this applies to a brand new person, but I'd say it also applies to all of us. Okay, so it's all about, excuse me, what's the activity that is going to yield you the best and quickest income? In other words, how can you get your income going as fast as you want right from the beginning? True? Yeah, that's what you want. So I sent out in the promo some ideas of what are the income producing activities. So I'm going to run through the list. They are things like contacting your warm list. They are referrals, networking. Now, listen, I put business networking, but we all know that actually in truth, it could be a mum's networking thing. It might be that your local village has a coffee morning and you go along as one of those people that attends a coffee morning. That is networking. Yeah. It could be the 3-foot rule. There'll be some people on here that will go, what the heck is the 3-foot rule? Well, it's basically anybody that you get close to is you strike up a conversation and you open your shop, which is your mouth, and you say something, okay? But what you don't is verbally diarrhea over them. And that's the things that I'm going to be talking about, okay? Neighbour letters. Okay, some people are exceedingly successful doing neighbourhood letters. And then the last one on the list, not because it's the least important, but are doing 20k giveaways, which we used to call winner minis. So what do you think is possibly out of all of those, and some of you might think of other methods, what do you think is the one that's going to yield the quickest income? I'm going to open that up to, let's ask, because he's unmuted anyway, Kev. Hi, Kev. Out of all of those, what would you say would yield the quickest income? Is that you, Kev? No, no sound. I'm going to mute you, Kev. I'm going to mute you. I'm going to ask somebody else. Okay. Hang on. Oh, are you there now?
I think I didn't press a button.
Right. So, Kev, out of all of those, what do you reckon will yield you the quickest income?
Well, I suppose the one that would yield one of the quickest. Well, I don't know. I mean, my neighbour letters would be one of the quickest ways to go, I must admit, but might not be the quickest.
Why would you say neighbourhood letters?
Because it's just round the corner and I could go back real quick at any point.
Okay. Anybody else agree with that? Neighbourhood letters? Yeah, Lindsay's got his hands up. Some of you are not on screen, so I don't know what you're thinking or anything, but that doesn't matter. Okay, some think neighbourhood letters. Now, I'm also going to say to you, for some people, okay, neighbourhood letters would be terrifying. The idea of going out and dropping a letter and then a night or two later going back and knocking on the door would be terrifying. Now, I'm going to say to you, it's not something that sits comfortable with me. And I'll tell you why, because personally, my home is my castle and I don't want anyone knocking my door and trying to sell something to me on the door. And for me, it would be disingenuous for me to do that. Yeah, so it doesn't sit comfortable with me. That doesn't mean that I'm wrong. It doesn't mean that I'm right. It's what is best for you. Yeah. And some people are incredibly successful at it. And yes, neighborhood letters are really good because of the fact that they are local. And how wonderful it means you can do lots of face-to-face appointments. That is a massive bonus. We all know face-to-face is the best method. It incurs the energy. People see your and read your body language. They know what you're saying is true or not true. Is that not true? They're reading everything about you. So actually, I think neighborhood letters could be excellent. Okay. The warm list is definitely the first thing that should be top of the list. People that know, like, and trust you. Are they not the people that we should attend to? Yeah. But does anybody ever get that the people that know, like, and trust you don't? It happened to me in the beginning. Mum and Dad were not interested. Lisa, what are you flogging us now? And that stuff happens, doesn't it? But for some people, it's absolutely remarkable. Likewise, referrals. Now, in the early days, referrals was my bag. And it was before everybody was doing referrals. And in fact, at the Hampshire Buzz last night, I actually did explain that my person that introduced me, Rob Barras, told me this was a referral network marketing company. And the way you got business was by referrals. And I believed him. We had little books, and I used to just at the end of my presentation, and when they signed up as a customer, I'd say to them, I'd open it up and say, everybody gives me 3 referrals naturally. And I would button it up and they'd give me referrals. And so there I was maximizing my time, because is a referral not a nice warm lead? Does that person not already kind of sell it for us? Yeah, they do. So there's another method. Some people are terrifying for asking for them, though. I don't know why. I don't know why they're terrified. If somebody has already said, oh, yeah, this is great, cool, you've just saved me £1,000 a year. How wonderful. Why would it not be a natural thing to say, who else would you like to help? Who else would you like to help reduce their bills? Yeah, good, eh? What about networking? Lots of people are comfortable with that. Lots of people do professional networking. They do things like Business Networking International, BNI. Nothing to do with the big night in, by the way. Okay. Some people just love, I know loads of people that love doing Mum's Net. They turn up, loads of mums with their babies and kids, and they chat, and what a wonderful, nice, natural way. Yeah. The 3-foot rule, that's my favorite. Anybody that kind of comes near me or I talk to them, I generally kind of like don't verbally diarrhea, but I ask lots of questions and they get interested and I get people that way. 20K. 20Ks. I love them. I love the fact that we turn up, we work together, we have fun together, because this can be sometimes, as a remote business, it can be a bit lonely. And I see it as a training ground, a coaching ground, a place where you get used to the public saying no. And we already build rapport on the stand with those people. We meet them. They're already engaging with us. And to me, that is just the most incredibly quick way to get leads. Love it. Some people hate it. So for all these methods, some love it, some hate it. So what's best? Well, actually, is it not what's best for you? What you feel most comfortable with. Come on, guys, take yourself back to school. Now I'm going to show myself to be terribly old now, because I was in that time when you took options at school. You were in your 3rd year and you opted to take either history or geography or German and Spanish. And I think most of us tended to take the options that we enjoyed, that we felt comfortable with. And so we were more excited and we would do more of it. Is that not true? could that not be applied to this? I think so. Absolutely. So I don't think there's any method that's the best method. I'm throwing it out and saying, whatever you feel comfortable with, do it. But hear me out. Please try everything at least once. Give it a try, see how you feel. All right. And then I would say to you, try again. Yeah, because actually it's in the trying, in the learning, that we learn how to do something and we start to become successful. In my first few, what we now call 20K giveaways, I wasn't a natural. We've honed it. And now, in amongst all of this, I'm going to give you a script that I'm going to tell you has almost got a 100% success rate. So whatever way you do this, whether it's neighbour letters, 20Ks, 3-foot rule, networking, it doesn't matter. I am telling you that each time I have said this, I get an appointment. Okay, so that's a pretty good assurity. So let's give you an example. I've now booked myself on Keith and Karen Gaskell's 20K giveaway, which isn't a 20K giveaway. It is like it. It's between Marks and Spencer's and Sainsbury's at the Hedge End, massive retail complex. And it's a good, how far away is it for me? Oof. We're talking about 60 miles. It's a long way for me. So I must be keen. And the reason is I am absolutely sure I'm going to make loads of appointments. And it doesn't matter that it's all that distance because we can do these remotely, can't we? Yeah, it doesn't matter anymore. So here it is. This is what I'm going to be saying. And I want you to think about topping, tailing it, adapting it to the situation. Yeah, using common sense. So I shall be approaching people. We will not be giving out slips. There'll be no slipping. You know what I'm on about. I shall approach people. And as Stuart Wallier Montgomery said, you've only got a few seconds to make an impression. All right. So the first thing is I'll go up to someone and say, you've got to glean. You've got to be eyeballing each other and smiling. You know, the Barbie smile where your face cracks after an hour? Yeah. So it's smile. And I'm going to say, excuse me, madam, you're here today, obviously to do some shopping. Is it Sainsbury's or is it Marks and Spencer's? Or is it a bit of both? Easy. Is this called the alternative clothes? It's going to be one of them because they're there. Now, let's say she happens to say Sainsbury's. Okay. So just another question. Would you consider yourself a savvy, canny shopper? Are you the person that is discerning, looks at prices and and carefully chooses? Or are you the person that grabs the stuff, puts it in the basket and doesn't give a damn? Now, I'm going to tell you, everyone, most people will like to say, I'm a canny, savvy shopper. Yeah? Okay. So the next thing is, how do you link this? You then say to them, oh, that's great. So do you apply that to your essential services at home? Now, I was doing this over the last 2 days at the weekend, and I had people say, no. To which I said, why? Because if you're bothering to be careful about spending and discerning with your prices, why would you not apply that to everything, including the stuff at home? Because otherwise, if you don't apply that to everything, you might as well not apply it to the shopping, because that one's going to negate the other. And one lady went, oh, you've got a point there. And I said, look, let me show you something. Please note what I said. Let me show you something. I go back to the stand. I just pick up my bill and I went through my bill and I explained to them, I'm with this company. I've got 5 services, as you can see. See what happens. Comes out in the first of the month. We know what's coming out by direct debit at the end of the month. I like the simplicity. I like the fact that instead of lots of bills going out at different times, I've got all my services simple on one bill, one direct debit, one password. How nice. Now watch this though. Why this is clever. Because as you can see, the prices are excellent. However, turn to the back page. Every time I spend money anywhere, I get money back. Retailers give us up to 10%, according to the retailer. And there's well over 70. And we're talking even things like streaming, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus. There's all sorts. Now, every time I spend, and it doesn't matter, even if it's my hair salon, which is a one-off, I get money back, as you can see. And then I go like this on the bill, and I say, they're only small amounts. And each person turned around to me and said, but they add up. And then I do the Allen P's and I said, yes, that's right. You're right. Turn to the front of the bill, show them the deduction. And I say to them, look at that. All those services for that. Why would I go anywhere else when I would spend more? And you see them and you wait and you pause. And one lady went, oh gosh, that's good. I've never heard of them. I said, no, because they don't do normal forms of advertising. That's why they can offer these great keen prices. So would that interest you? She said, well, yeah. I said, great, we need to meet. We don't do anything here. I went straight to my diary, got my diary, opened it up and said, right, would you like this in person, customer service, or would you like this remotely? Now, where I'm going, I'm going to be saying we could do this on the phone unless they happen to be close. Could you not apply that to any scenario? Neighbour letters, networking. Yes, you could. You just top and tail it. What a wonderful link, because what we're doing is applying some logic which we know the public generally don't have. Is that true? Yeah. Now we're applying some logic, so that could be applied to any of those. So now my next point that I said was, what's the best method of contact? So obviously a 20K is great because it's in person. A neighbourhood letter is great, it's in person. Networking is in person, referrals are in person. That's the best method, in person. What's next? Possibly I'd say Zoom, because you are still instant communication 2 ways. And there's also visual. Not quite so easy visual, but it's still visual. The next method is phoning, picking up the phone, because it's still 2-way communication. They can hear your passion, your excitement, your interest. Last communication is not communication. It's broadcasting. It's called texting, WhatsApping, Instagramming, Facebook messaging. It's because you send a message and you hope that in a minute, in an hour, in a day, in a week, a month, maybe never, someone might respond. That isn't communication. That is actually broadcasting. So can you see how important it is that we are building relationships? Does that make sense? I hope so. Really, really hope so. So do you have a daily method of operation for all of this? Even if you're working full time, and loads of people do this full time, my gosh, you've still got loads of time. I promise you, if you work out the number of hours outside of your work hours, there's lots. It's just that possibly you're not utilizing that, because lots of people fill this in the little nooks and crannies of the day. Okay. You know, in a lunch break, even if it was half an hour, you can make it cool. Yeah. It's whether or not, how much do you want to achieve what you want? What is it Mr. Critchley said? He said, if you don't go out to achieve what you want, what you want will never happen. Something of that nature.
No, he said, if you don't make sacrifices, for what you want will become the sacrifice.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for correcting me, Lindsay. I appreciate that. And isn't that true? How many people don't dig their well before they become thirsty? Loads and loads of people. Okay. So this is important that we get this stuff right. So even if you work full time, let's say that you apply a daily method of operation, a DMO. Now, mine is always, there will be some welcome calls, there'll be some congratulatory calls, and then there'll be prospecting. And I promise myself 3 of each. I start with the easiest first, the congratulatory. I do welcome calls and then I do prospecting. It's just that the more you do of something, the easier it gets. Guys, Mr. Rob Barris says you don't get a body like this if you only attend the gym once a month. The same thing is with this. If you only do this sporadically, you are not going to get to be at ease, to be comfortable. The more you do something, the better it gets. So every single day, without fail, I am prospecting. Now today, I have prospected 4 people. Okay. And I think my method is phoning people, and then I follow it through with UW stories. Okay, because I'm mostly recruiting, and I'm letting the tools do the work for me. That's what we're taught, and it works. Because if they are still disinterested after seeing some of those UW stories, I tell you what, I'm not even sure they've got a pulse. And do I really want to work with them? All right. Is that not true? Do we want to be chasing somebody? No, we don't. Okay. So we've got to use the tools that can help us. There is an online UW Life magazine. That is also a brilliant thing to send to somebody. Yeah. In fact, we're very, very fortunate now. We've got so much in our armory to help us. And then the last thing I put on my list was KISS. Now, listen, guys, I do love you all, but it wasn't meant for that. KISS is keep it simple and sweet, or short. Keep it simple and short. How many people sell something and then buy it back? I see it all the time. I see people talking too much. Yeah, let the tools do the work for us. Okay, really important. So what I've decided for the next few weeks is I'd like to very much home in on each of these activities and get some excellence put into them. Is that all right with all of you? This was a bit of an overview, all right? And I've given you a little script to start with that can be utilized. But I would suggest we'll home in on each of these activities because we want to do it justice. We want to really hear the psychology and what's going on and what we're doing. Now, there's something else to say about these half an hour little coachings that I do. If you attend or if you watch them, but you don't actually get into action, they are pure entertainment. And I haven't bothered to set aside time to entertain you as much as I love you all. Okay. They are designed to help nurture, coach, and get you going into action, because it's only the action that will actually prove results. And I'll say this to you, not everything is immediate. So lots of the prospecting I did last week has only just come through this week. And that's by its nature. Some of the prospecting I did a month ago has only just come through. Some of the prospecting I did 2 months ago has only just come through. But if you do daily things, no matter how small, I mean, imagine you only prospected one person a day. One a day. Do you know that's 365 prospectings over a year? Is that not better than saying, well, I'm kind of like keeping my hand in and I'll take myself along to the buzz because that's once a month. but then I don't do anything else. Well, that's not going to achieve anything. It's got to be a combination of doing things repetitively and consistently. And we keep hearing this consistently. There's a great book called The Consistency Chain. And I have to say, I read it last year when we were on the UW holiday in the Maldives. And it was fabulous. It really was. And it really brought home that consistency is the thing. And I would say to you, I always apply this analogy because it's a good one. We've got a lovely lady on here called Annette, and her husband for many years was a driving instructor, and I think it's the greatest analogy. So Jim would take people out driving. I think some of them might book once a week. Some would probably only book once a fortnight. Some probably could only afford once a month. Now, that method is all right, but in the intervening time, people forget things. Of course they do. They get rusty. Whereas when I finally, when I did my driving test, I was actually in the police force. And it was a bit of, you've got no choice here, Lisa. You're going to do it the way we teach you. Very much orders. But what we did, we trained, we were taken out for 4 days on the trot. Oh, 4 days, all day long. Well, actually, that was a lot of driving tuition in a very short space of time. And then Friday, we took our test. What do you think the success pass rate was? Brilliant. Because we didn't have a chance to forget. We were just learning skills on skills, and we were getting better and better because there was no breaks. Can I say to you, this is a similar thing. The more you do, the better you'll get. And that is just fact. So look, guys, this is sort of a very quick resume, an overview of what's going to be happening the next few weeks on my Tuesday. And I'm going to home in on detail to help you with all the different things. I may get some experts in on certain fields. So I'm now going to say to you, I am not the best neighbourhood letter person. Okay, I've done it. I've had some success, but I wouldn't say I'm the best. I'm going to get some people that are really good at this. Will that be okay with you? Yeah. And won't it be nice to have somebody different other than me? Yes, I know. So guys, we'll leave it there. We're great. We're just a minute under time, and looking forward to 4:30 next Tuesday. Yessave team coaching, and it might be with somebody else. Look forward to seeing you all. Take care.